You know, when you create a show like The Simpsons, how are you supposed to create something that will stand up to it? Well, the right and simple answer is you don't. The success for The Simpsons for Groening was a blessing and a curse at the same time. Everything he would now make would be overshadowed by its success. Kind of like with most people who hit it big. And of course, this would be the excuse for the failure and second failure of Futurama. Despite that, Fox's animated sci-fi comedy never stood a chance. For unlike The Simpsons and South Park, it didn't expire. It was plagued with problems from the beginning. But before I lay into that, let me tell you about the good stuff that came from the show. In fact, great stuff. Everything that came from Dr. Zoidberg was pure comic gold. This is truly what a Simpsons version of an alien would be. And of course, a lot of that comes from that voice actor, Billy West, who does a great job with the other voices. Also, the future that they came up with is pretty impressive. You can definitely see a lot of imagination and great ideas coming out. It's a fantastic comical look on the things we want and things we fear from the future. It does feel like there's effort being put in there. And that's kind of a lot of the reason why the show sucked. And now you're gonna have to hear me out on this. In this world of tomorrow, there's a lot of inconsistencies. Like, notice that the Statue of Liberty's hand is holding one of those transport tubes, and later it's back to normal. There's also inconsistencies with the characters, such as Bender, who in the Titanic episode had a magnetic bow tie, but magnets are supposed to mess him up. Also, when they meet Leonard Nimoy, Fry makes a Star Trek reference, and only which he acknowledges, but eventually when they do the Star Trek crossover, he denies Star Trek ever existed. And there's plenty of stuff like this. They go to all this time and all this effort to make this universe, and the writers don't follow its rules. Speaking of Leonard Nimoy, it's that stupid thing that celebrities are preserved and kept alive in head jars, which is just a stupid excuse to have celebrity voices on the show. Wouldn't there be celebrities in the future too? Another big thing is we have a theme park on the moon and nothing else. But on Mars we have this university and the whole planet's being terraformed. Wouldn't it be the other way round? Another big problem with the show is Fry. Now, of course, Billy West does a good job voicing him, and he's pretty funny sometimes, but his motivation is all screwed up. Fry was someone who was unhappy with his time period. One of those I was born in the wrong decade kind of people. Which, okay, is good, but then you'll have him constantly bitch and moan about his predicaments. So which is it, writers? Is he content or miserable? Most of the characters are mostly forgettable, except one, and I don't mean this in a good way. I've never seen a character before where the first line they speak, you know that they're a failure from the start. You know how in The Simpsons that Bart was kind of the iconic character? The person that you can put on a t-shirt, and use him to kind of promote the show? Well, that's exactly what they did with Bender. But unlike Bart, who is a developed character, Matt Groening was trying to recreate that magic with Bender, who is one of the worst TV characters ever. The first line he says is, "Bite my shiny metal ass." It is such an obnoxious character whose sole purpose is just to be something to talk about. That's the only reason why he's there. It would have been a better show without him. And Jesus Christ, how many episodes are there where he falls in love with someone? They don't even know what to do with him. Like I said, Zoidberg represents everything right with the show, and Bender everything wrong. That's about it. There's a lot of other problems with Futurama, but I don't want to make an hour-long video. You know, at the end of the day, it's easy to just say, well, it's not as good as The Simpsons, but there's barely any good there to begin with. And when you've got all these problems, it sabotages anything redeeming about it. I know it has its fans, and if you like this show, then good for you. But after listening to this video, you might be able to appreciate that keeping it cancelled is good for all of us.